Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Wiegmann. In the house, we have the Crappie Ninja. Hiya! Hiya!
Oh, boy.
I'm telling you, James Callaway's in the house. Or we're in his house. We're in a house somewhere.
We're in a house.
This is crazy. Crappie Ninja.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm claiming look at his shirt. I'm claiming that I gave you that nickname.
You might have.
I'm here to say last year we were at the Mississippi Crappie Camp, and sure enough, you had that band on.
Oh, yeah.
You had the eye of the tiger.
I was bad at those crappie, weren't we?
You were mad and you were catching them. You were flat out catching them. And that's what we're going to talk about. Let's just get right to it. How are you catching all these crappie?
Well, it's a lot of hoping. You know, a lot of hoping on my part because I just put them out and I hope those PICO crankbaits do their job. Yeah. I look good.
That's right. Let's start with how you're putting those lures. How you're putting those lures out, and also, are you using the deep diving INT PICO crankbaits? Or are you using the square bills?
I'm fixing to go to the square bill tomorrow if I can get on the lake. Right.
And why you're changing to them instead of the deeper diver, say in the reservoir?
I got a little word that they're up shallow, about 4 foot.
Right.
So that square bill ought to be right in that area, shouldn't it?
In that target zone.
In that target zone, yeah. And I heard they was in the deepest part of the lake, too. Yeah. 20 foot of water.
Yep. And that's as deep as water gets here in Lake Washington.
It is. Right there at the bottleneck, they call it. That's pretty about much as deep as it gets. The rest of it maybe 8, 9, 10 foot at the most.
We talk a lot about trolling and so trolling the different ones, the square bills. So you're actually focused. If you're using the deep diver, what kind of depth zone are you actually looking for, and how far back do you know to put your line from your crankbait?
If I catch a fish, I really pay attention
to
where he is when I, get him to the back of the boat or to the leaders or everything, and I just try to cast back to that spot after I get that fish off, and then I kind of develop because I don't use any electronics.
Right.
I mean, I've got a little. Right. I got a little.
You do
dash.
have a little dash one.
Yeah,
but that's
I got a
just
dash
for.
One. But
I don't know what that's for. You have one.
Yeah. Now, yesterday, while I was trying to fish a little bit, I was dragging the bottom, apparently, so I kept trying to shallow up, because the fish was actually hitting the jig that I had on. And those crankbaits come up with some trash on them, so I said, I need to go shallower.
Right. So is that how you know how deep you're going to run them? I mean, let's talk about different reservoirs because that probably makes a difference. Lake Washington, it just shallow. Very shallow. But what happens if you go to, say, one that has maybe an average depth of like 12 to 18 feet?
The lake that I fish that's across the river from Lake Washington in Arkansas, it's got about a 17-foot is the deepest part in it, but it normally runs to 13, 14 foot, and I love
What's
that
the name
lake.
of that? Is that Chico?
It's Grand Lake.
Oh, Grand Lake, yeah.
Chico, I never have been real good at catching them on Chico. Plus, when I do catch one, he's short. They got a 10-inch limit there, I think. And 9.5, you hate to throw those. Those are good eaters. Those are good eaters. But Chico would be a wonderful place if I could figure out how to catch them there.
Right. So you're going over to Grand Lake, then you're using the deep divers.
Yeah.
So in general, and we're still talking about depth, what's the length of line that you're putting out? So PICOs with 45 feet run 12 foot deep, right?
Yeah, most of them do, but I'm not putting very much line out at all. I'm using planer boards since the water.
What kind of planer boards are you using?
They're offshore tackle that I got started on. Dan Mueller got me started on them. He gave me 2 of them at the Big Mama.
That cost you, didn't it?
Yeah, I bought 3 more sets.
Isn't that the deal? Someone gives you something and you're like, this is nice, and then all of a sudden, get out your wallet.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Then I catch them on a certain color. I only got 2 or 3 of them. Mitch gets a call. So I gotta have some more.
I know we'll talk about colors here in a second because we got 2 brand new ones to talk about, but. So that's how you know what your depth is, and then
I do have line counters on my
your poles.
I do have, but I hardly ever look at them.
Really?
Really.
Yeah.
And of course, the further you let it out after you put the board on, the further it's going to go to your right or your left.
That's right.
So, I try to gauge that, and try to cover all area. But then when I do my flat lines, if it's not too rough, I do flat lines. I got a 20-foot, 18, 16, 14.
Wow.
And I'm covering water with plenty of bait in the water.
That's right, and that's probably the deal. Why you're so good, you're so successful at that.
I don't know about the good part. I get lucky a lot.
I don't think it's luck when you got that much stuff out there. That's just breathing through some water. But I mean, let's talk about your setup. You put your planer boards out first. Is that right? Is it shaped like a wingspan of a bird?
I try to get them right in line.
All right.
Right in line off the corners of the boat. So I'm sitting there in my chair and I can tell, if one's good and acted. The flag don't always go down.
Right. Telltale flag.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to get that set just right for the flag to go down. But, you get a catfish or something like that, it goes down good. I've got something either big for a crappie or a catfish. Slimy. Slimy.
Or a gar. You catch gars,
I've caught one gar in this lake. One gar in this lake.
Yeah.
Oh, they give me a lot of trouble when I'm in certain places like an oxbow off the river or something like that, and they're in there heavy. I lose baits with them. I always counted. They can cut and I do use steel leaders when I know I'm going to be hitting gar, and that helps.
Well,
I used to have a pellet gun in there, and I'd shoot that sucker too, because he makes that flip, and there it goes. I buy $7, or whatever they cost.
That's right. So you start on the outside corners and you start working your way in. And how many boards do you have on each side normally?
I'm using 3 right now. I've only got 3 pulling rods or 6 pulling rods as far as the crankbait for the planer boards. I got them high in the back of the boat, and just as high as I can, and then a lot of people, when they're sitting up in the front, your line's crossed, your line's crossed. Well, it does look like they're crossed, but the way I put them out, the one furthest to the right or to the left is the furthest one out from the boat, and then the middle one, and then the one inside right by the motors.
Just keep staggering them.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you put out your free lines or your long lines, and then how do you know? Do you always put out 3 poles on each side of long lines?
I've been known to put up to 16 rods out at one time. Now that's definitely in a lake that I know well.
Right.
But
this one really doesn't have snags. This one has that black goobly goo. And that gets on that. Yeah. And that's probably something where you're trolling.
I did catch a limb brim yesterday.
You did?
And a
how did that
sycamore
taste?
Leaf.
How did that taste?
I don't know. You got to use lots of cayenne pepper and all
that. To get that wood to taste very good. Let's talk about colors. We're pretty excited because the colors, 2 of the new colors, which you have, nobody else has down here that I know
special.
of. Is one's Paycheck, which is a shad pattern one, which my son-in-law Joey, that's a shout out to him. He painted that one.
Oh, okay.
And the other one's Doug Wynn. It's called the D Wynn. And that's the one that's green and has the black bars on the back and kind of has a thrush, kind of an orange thrush on it. And
Last time I saw Doug, he was kind of wanting to come down and fish in this area one time, but he said, "Let me know when they're good," But
we need to bring him down for one of these. Yeah. But so those are 2 colors I know you have because we gave them to you, and you have them in your bag to use tomorrow.
They're in there somewhere.
Well, you need to get those out. So
I think I've got, now that you sent me that bag today, I think I've got well over 300.
300 crankbaits.
300. Each box holds 150, and they're completely full right now. I've got to find a new home for those that I got yesterday.
Let's talk about you have the coolest, the bestest, the neatest tackle boxes for crankbaits. Tell us, do you happen to know the brand, or are they out of business?
I can't even remember the brand now. I think I got those.
You've had them for a long time.
I've had them. Gene Lester put me on those, and he was a big crankbait puller over at Grenada. but I think he's pretty much gone to the live scope now.
Oh,
he's not Team Big Fish anymore. They're big fish still, but I went with him one time, and he gave me little secrets here and there that I picked up on, But he's over at Grenada most of the time. He guides there. But I can't remember names. Oh, that one looks good,
Right. Well, looks good. Well, now PICO has 42 colors in the deep diver, 14 in the square bill. So there's a wide selection.
Yeah.
But when it comes to lure color, like how do you start? You start in the lake, but you've been to Washington for a while. So do you start with your favorites, and then do you go to experimental?
Washington used to be a really good crankbait lake, but like everybody's been complaining, they're not catching fish like they used to. But I think we caught 9 last year.
We caught 9 big ones.
Yeah,
they were
nice.
Like all keepers.
Nice. And I don't know how many John and I caught the next day, but he said he took almost 500 pictures of me. So I guess we had
you had a lot of.
We had a lot of.
Last year you really reeked them in.
Yeah.
So tell us the color thing. How are you?
I remember Christmas tree catching them last year.
Right, Christmas tree.
And I've had it out yesterday.
Kind of a shad.
It was too windy today. I was really scared to get out on the lake today, especially out in that wind,
Well, I mean, if your planer board goes under and you don't see it again for a minute, and then it comes to the other top of that wave, I guess that's too big. But I mean, what other colors are like your favorite? Do you think some of the
I like zombie.
Shad patterns? You think more?
Yeah.
You think shad patterns more? Because you remember the green one, like Grenada green and some of those greens and Fire Tiger. Are you into those? Or are you more?
I've been Mud Buddy or whatever it's called.
Mud Bug?
Yeah, Mud Bug. I like that one.
That's like a crawdad color.
Red
one.
Crawl. I like that one.
I can see that's a black. Has black, but has a lot of red to it. So you're do you put out different colors on each side?
I try to.
Do you?
Yeah,
like shad on one side, red and orange.
If I'm gonna fish 6 poles, I usually got 6 colors.
6 different colors.
6 different colors. Don't make any difference what side they're on. And then if I catch 2 on that bait, I'm probably changing, to that bait.
You have to understand, he has tackle boxes, and there's like 12. There's one color, and he's got 12 of them. And so if they get hot, you will stick.
I'm ready for them.
Dude,
every
you just
pole
keep sticking.
In the boat will have that color on.
You think that's the deal, don't you?
Yeah. It's a reaction bite. You know that.
Right.
They're just kind of mad at it when it comes by them, and that's his reaction bite. And then I do have a jig on lots of times too, and I've been using
like a jig trailer. Or do you use the snap in the front?
It's up top.
It's up top.
Yeah. I'll stretch out 6 foot of line. Say I'm 6 foot tall. Close, and then I'll go about like that right there and put a swivel on, and then tie a knot, and then I put another slip. I mean, not a what you call it? Swivel clip, and that's where my jig goes, and then the long one is the crankbait.
Yeah. Yep. So kind of a teaser in the front. Yeah. So what Texas trailer they sell those. You can buy at PICO Lures. PICO Lures happens to be our lure sponsor, so we love them. But they actually, I mean, they're so popular, aren't they? In Mississippi,
I've just left my other 2 boxes or 3 boxes at the house. I'm strictly PICO's in the boat right now.
I think it's just crazy because Mississippi has such good trolling lakes, don't they? Grenada, they'll troll in Grenada, and they have Crankfest.
I've
Grenada. So, have you ever fished in that?
I took my, I started a club in South Arkansas, Crappie Club. So I bought the good scales and I bought the digital screen and everything. And the first one they put on over there was using my scales and my scoreboards too.
Wow!
But since then, I let the club go by. I hadn't had it in the last 2 years, and I won't have it this year. But just kind of lost interest. Going on. Yeah, lost interest in it.
You got grandkids. You got things to do.
I've got a new boat, too, that's sitting at the house right now. It's a Sea Arc that I thought would be perfect. But I'm afraid it's too much boat for me, Brad. It's 26 foot long.
Oh, 26.
It's 26 foot long. It's down in the bottom, about huge live well back there. Got couches in front of the console and everything, and a big front deck. Oh
that's
man,
a yacht, baby.
Got a 300 Zook on it, man.
That's a redneck yacht, baby.
It is. That's all we've done.
Yeah, Ninja probably doesn't need a boat. That's big.
That's my new move.
That's like when you catch a fish, because we're going out. I'm going to have you do some of that on the video, man. I'll be like Crappie Ninja, and you got to wear that shirt too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have to find a little tag that says PICO and put that in there somewhere or something on that. But
I was hoping there would be some stickers in that care package, possibly a shirt.
Not yet. Well, Mitch, you hear it now, man. If you want the Ninja to be wearing your stuff, but if you could give them one tip for trolling crankbaits, what would that one tip be?
One tip would be play close attention to what you got out, where you bring that fish up, and it's particular things that I pay attention to that probably somebody else won't even notice, but you've got to really pay close attention to what you're doing, and when you catch that fish, make a mental note of it, and then try to go back at that same depth. And it's just a lot of hoping in my part. I promise you, I'm not that good, but I do get lucky.
He flat out whacks them, baby. And he'll whack them. This wind stops being 40-mile-an-hour gust, and he gets out there. There's going to be a sleigh of crappies just being in this boat going down the thing. But that's good.
You're building me up to mess. This game's getting tight.
We like that. We like that. Hey, that takes us to Tackle Time. Tackle Time is sponsored by PICO Lures. PICO Lures has a complete line of hard and soft baits. So anything you're looking for to catch game fish, PICO has something for it. They also have terminal tackle. He was talking about snaps and swivels, things like that. PICO also has a line of Vanguard tackle. And that has terminal tackle, has fishing line, scales, just tools, things like that. You can check them out, PICOLures.com. James, if they wanted to see like maybe what you were doing, do you have a Facebook page they can kind of check out and
post
see?
Every once in a while.
All right.
It's kind of like duck hunting or deer hunting or something like that. You don't want to give all your secrets out.
There you go.
Because everybody's studying that.
That's right.
Yeah, Facebook, they'll look and see, and then the next thing you know, you'll be walking on boats, or you could walk on boats where you was fishing. But now, one of my favorite lakes is Belco. Oh. It's outside of Dumas. I've heard that they caught them there Saturday, so I might be going there. It's a real shallow lake. I mean, the whole thing's shallow.
Wow.
But the planer boards, that's one thing. Let me make this note if it's okay.
Yeah.
The planer boards work good in shallow lakes, okay, because the boat's probably scaring those fish.
Right.
So you put your planer boards out, and that's flushing them out to the sides, and that's
to
when
your baits.
To your baits. So that's when you start catching them on planer boards in the shallower lakes.
All right, there you have it. Like I always like to end the show, make sure you keep your hook sharp and your lures in the water.
I love it.